Hi, welcome back. Didn't expect that I'll making like a part 2 video of home related stuff. But based on the previous video, a lot of you guys are interested in my Taobao experience, how all these shipment things work, and generally what's my review of the items that I purchased from Taobao. So first of all, Taobao has a central platform that does international shipping. However, those items that they deem that it's very fragile, easy to break, or bulky items, or generally things that has a very high risk of getting damaged during the shipment process itself, then they will not do the shipment for you. So that is when you need to rely on the ezbuy that they will provide you a China address. During your checkout process for the Taobao items, you just need to indicate that China address provided by them. Once the item is delivered over at the location, the logistics team from the ezbuy will go to that address, pick up those items and ship them to Singapore. In terms of the shipping fee, it's dependent on both the weight and the size of the items, whichever is higher. So take for example a dumbbell. It's relatively small but it's very heavy, so they will calculate the weight of the item to determine the shipping fee for that dumbbell. Likewise, if you have something very big but it's very light, then they will base on the size of the item to calculate the shipping fee. So for that, if you still have any questions, feel free to drop in the comments, then I'll try to clarify them as much as possible. Okay, for now, let's talk about and discuss about the items that I purchased from Taobao. Let's try to do this in one take because I'm simply too lazy to do video editing. Okay, let's go back to the shoe rack. So as you know, my shoe rack has all this function which you can control via the app, or you can simply just press the buttons over here. Okay, the shoe rack opens up this way in this orientation, and there is also a light source inside. So with that, definitely you will need a power source to power up this shoe rack, and obviously it will come with a China plug instead of Singapore plug. However, you can always go to any hardware shop and grab one of this 3-pin plug. It costs about $1 or $2. You can check out YouTube videos on how to do the wiring conversion. It's actually quite simple and takes about 5 to 10 minutes or so. So for the shoe rack, it comes already this way, already pre-assembled. So out of the box, you just need to take it out and power up and you can use it. Condition wise is perfect, no issue with this. However, I couldn't say the same for my dining table. I'm not sure whether you can see it clearly, but there is some minor damage over here and also here, which I try to hide under the tissue box. So I think this is the kind of risk that you need to bear when you're purchasing and shipping such bulky items. So comparing to what happened in Singapore, when this kind of things happen, probably you can ask the guy to take back the item and get a one-to-one exchange. However, when you buy this purchase from Taobao, there's like no way for you to ship this back to China, right? Installation wise, it's not difficult. It's just fixing up the tabletop with the base structure below. However, this is super heavy. I will highly recommend at least 3 or more the merrier guys to help to move and support the tabletop when you're trying to install this. Alright, now let's talk about the dining chair together with the sofa. Since it's from the same seller, I like to rave about the material used first. This is super nice to touch. It's like a hybrid between fabric and leather. In Chinese, it's called 克制布. I'm not sure what it's called in English, but it's really super easy to maintain and super comfy. So installation wise, you just need to fix up the legs, alright, the legs of the dining chair as well as the sofa using a Allen key or a screwdriver. It's pretty straightforward. So okay, before I forget about the sofa. So you might be wondering, I'm not sure whether you are wondering whether how come my L orientation is over here instead over at the window side. So apparently, I actually wanted the L to be over at the window side, so the seller actually sent me the wrong item. So I tried to talk to the seller and ask how we can follow up with this. So they don't mind to do an exchange for me, but to do that, I'm not sure whether ezbuy will facilitate that exchange, back in China for you, and at the same time you still need to fork out the shipping fee to send this back to China, as well as the shipping fee for the replacement item to be sent back to Singapore. So now it's entirely your call now whether you want to get it replaced or you want to live with this. In the end, for my case, I think the L is alright over here at this side. It gives me more room at the window area for me to stand there, stare blank, and enjoy the view. So in the end, it's okay. Next, I would like to talk about the lights. I think generally most of the people purchase lights from Taobao is because of the price and design. For my case, I know what is the design that I'm looking for, but I just simply can't find this exact same design in Singapore. So I have to search from Taobao and get it from Taobao instead. So I think for me, it's quite lucky that all the lights that I purchased, there's no issue of them are working fine. However, if you're like purchasing track lights from Taobao, for track lights, definitely you will need the track as well as the light itself. The light bulb, the quality is good, everything is okay. However, for the track, I couldn't say the same. For my case, they provide a track that is like kind of flimsy, low quality stuff. For track lights, the track is like super important because it runs all the wiring all the way within inside and it supports the lights. So to me, that is super important. So if you're like getting track light, please take note of this, and if required, just get a replacement track somewhere in Singapore. You can get it from Chanhuat at Balestier. So this track light is actually meant for the PC room to shine at the wallpaper. But I realized the room gets really super hot and stuffy whenever I'm gaming. So in the end, I removed the track light and put in a fan instead to provide that additional airflow and ventilation in the room. Okay, now let's talk about the blinds. I'm not sure whether you guys realize that a lot of the renovation in Singapore that is being posted in the social media, like in Instagram, in Facebook, YouTube, they all like to use that white color blind with the black color stripe, down. So to me, it's like super common, so I don't want to get that. So, and plus this blind cost me only about $50 plus shipping, maybe a couple of $70, I'll guess, around there. So why not get something different? It looks very pretty decent. You can adjust the shades if you want also. Installation wise, is very standard blinds installation. You just fix up a few brackets, drill at the latch, then you just clip the entire blinds on it. So super easy. Talking about value for money, the last video I forget to show you what I have in my service laundry yard. It's this laundry rack system. So I think this kind of laundry rack system is getting very common in Singapore. In Singapore, I think the more popular ones is by Stegen, but it costs around $1,000. You can check it out. For me, I get this from Taobao. It's cost me around $250 plus shipping. I think it ends up to be around 300 max. So you can compare the kind of price difference, and the functionality is pretty much the same. So obviously you want to on and off the lights. You can control up and down. Maybe I should do it this way. You can control it up and down, and of course it has all the other functions like 风干、烘干、消毒, all the things that you need. So for this, I think it is really super useful and helpful, and I like how the orientation of the poles work for this particular brand. So I like the poles to be orientated this way, alright, vertical down, like a ladder, instead of a lot of the other brands has designed with like horizontal 2 or 3 poles inside. So to me, I prefer this kind of orientation more. So for this brand, it's quite popular. You can check it out, Untitled in Taobao. Alright, I cannot remember why I didn't choose the Xiaomi one, maybe because of the post orientation. But overall, I would say this kind of laundry rack system is super important and super useful. A lot of times people talk about smart automation at home, but to me, this kind of things are really like the basic and prerequisite before you talk about automating lights, doing voice commands, controlling your remote controls. Because no point having those things when you're still manually like pulling up and down the standard HDB default laundry rack, doing very manual things like still putting in the detergent and softener whenever you want to wash your clothes. You are still boiling water whenever you need hot water and transferring them to another flask, things like that very manually. And not relying a vacuum robot to help you clean up the place, or even still using keys instead of digital lock. So to me, these are the things that are far more useful and important in the house. Alright, so for the gym room, the rubber mat support protection mat is from Taobao also. So I guess since it's made of rubber, I think there's 100% no risk. Alright, so now let's check back at the toilet. So like I mentioned, this vanity and the sink is from Kohler. Alright, it's from Kohler. So I believe that since it's from Kohler, it's like quite a decent brand. The packaging of the item will have like a certain standard. So in terms of shipment wise, everything is okay. Installation wise, I believe you just need to put silicone at the edge to prevent water from seeping out, and just get a plumber to fix up the piping for you. So I like this a lot because you can see it doesn't have the water drainage in the middle, so it's hidden right there inside. The laminate of the drawers, you can see there's some texture to it, and it opens up nicely using very good mechanism. Like for this is like your tic tac, okay, and you have very good soft close over here. Luckily you didn't embarrass me this time. Okay, one random tip that I want to share here. If you are going to segregate between the shower area and the dry area, I will highly suggest you to do with a sink-in method this way. So instead of building up a separate platform, generally it looks nicer this way and it's easier to clean. For those platform ones, usually you have like a lot of mold building up on the platform. So for the other toilet accessories like the mixer, the shelf, the shower head, for the spray, the toilet bowl cleaner, all these things, this is my favorite, the handphone holder. All these are considered small items. They are, for the shipment wise, I think there's generally no issue with them. Okay, lastly, let's try not to make this video too long. It's around 14 minutes already. Okay, for the master bedroom, however, for the bed frame, I kind of would not suggest you to buy it from Taobao, because I think that the standard size of the measurement of the mattress, like queen size, single or king size, their standard is kind of different from Singapore. So a lot of times I think it doesn't fit very nicely to what we have. I like this because it comes with two huge big cushions at the back which you can take out and remove and wash it. So it looks a little bit unique and different. Installation wise, typically you will have your standard headboard behind, then you need to fix up these three sides, the other three sides of the bed frame. Then in the middle will be one supportive plank below. So if you have no experience with fixing up bed frame, I suggest you to get a handyman to do it, and you need at least around 2 person to help depending on the size of the bed frame. So for the bedside table, however, I don't really quite like it in the end. I think for this case, it's more like for any other scenario when you purchase items online where you can't actually physically see and have a touch and feel of the item. So this comes with a black glossy surface. So for black glossy surface, I guess it's very obvious when it gets very dusty and you have a lot of fingerprints on top. So in the end, I didn't quite like it, but just continue using it. Okay, last items I want to talk about is the curtain. For the curtain wise, one random tip first, if you are going to install with a blind, you can put it over at the ledge. However, if you want to put curtain, I will highly suggest you to put it full height, straight from the ceiling down. It just look nicer this way. The difference between getting curtain in Taobao and in Singapore is, in Singapore, they can get someone on site to help you to do the measurement for you in terms of how much fabric, how much cloth is required. But in Taobao, you need to do this kind of measurement yourself. So you kind of need to know how to do the measurement. So for my case, you can see that I wanted something that folds this way when the curtain is fully open. So it's like a snake kind of fold that has more like a hotel feel to it. So for this kind of fold, definitely you will need much more fabric in the end. So but the case is, I really don't know how much additional fabric is required, so I can only provide them with the measurement from one end to the other end. Then the rest is up for them to estimate and decide for me. So in the end, it actually gives me a little bit more fabric as what is required. So this is the curtain. I think that's pretty much about all the items that I purchased, minus the ones from Xiaomi. So I believe those Xiaomi items, I will put it in another separate video to talk about them. Alright, so overall, to conclude, I will say my experience with Taobao. The pros is, to conclude, the pros and cons about purchasing items from Taobao in Singapore is, I would say first of all, is the price point. Second point will be the design. You're able to find more variety and generally a little bit more trendy items from Taobao. The third point will be the customer service standard. Their response time is really super good. Anytime you want to reach out to the seller, within a short period of time, they'll be able to get back to you. So it really seems like they really want the business with you a lot. As for the cons, like the marble table, you just need to bear the risk that things might get damaged during the shipment process itself. Like for the sofa example, if they didn't deliver the correct item for you, if you want to get a replacement, you need to fork out that extra shipment fee delivered from China back to Singapore. So it's whether you want to pay that additional amount of money. The last point will be generally for all online purchase, where you cannot physically take a look, have a touch and feel of the item. So for those purchase, you need to take into consideration. So that's all for this video. If you like to check out more content like this, please hit the subscribe button. If you haven't seen my previous video or my home tour video, please check it out. If not, bye, and I see you in my next video.